Hello there my fellow notebook aficionados. It seems like Lenovo is watching our videos and overheard me saying that I really like OLED screens and laptops. They seem to agree since they just went ahead and put not one, but two of them in their latest Yoga. Yep, you heard that right, the Yoga Book 9i might sport the familiar high-class, almost luxurious outer shell we are already familiar with from their 2-in-1 lineup, but when you open this puppy up you are greeted with a second screen where you would normally find your keyboard and touchpad. This might seem like a concept device, just like the Asus ZenBook Fold we reviewed last year. But after using this one for a few weeks now, I have to give it to them. This makes actually a lot of sense. And the whole two-screen idea is also fairly well executed. So if you are someone who likes to use the out of the ordinary and stay on the bleeding edge of technology and do not really mind a few quirks here and there, well, the Yoga Book 9i might be the perfect fit for you. Apart from the two 2880 by 1800 60Hz OLEDs, our sample comes with Intel's 13th Gen i7 1355U, 16 gigs of LPDDR5X 2133 memory and a 512GB SSD. As is typical for Lenovo's high-end Ultrabook lineup, build quality is simply excellent. The matte exterior and glossy edges feel incredibly premium, and I have loved this color since our hands-on for the Yoga Pro 9i a few weeks back. By the way, make sure to subscribe to the channel for our review about that one coming really soon. Unfortunately, our retail sample came in grey, but this might be one of the best 16-inch all-purpose laptops you can get your hands on this year. The hinge of the Yoga Book is a bit of a mixed bag. While it is stiff enough to prevent extensive wobble, opening the Yoga with one hand is a bit tricky. But apart from that, we really have to give it to Lenovo. It may be because the actual notebook has fewer moving parts, but it really feels insanely premium and quite luxurious. While the overall dimensions are pretty consistent with the competition within the same class of notebooks, the dual screen Yoga is a bit on the heavier side. I guess two Gorilla Glass covered screens do not really put a notebook on a diet. Add in the foldable stand and the Bluetooth keyboard and the Lenovo might not be able to keep up with similar form factors when it comes to mobility, but then again you will hardly find that much screen in such a small package. Speaking of accessories, the Yoga Book comes with this origami-like foldable stand that doubles as a cover and carrying sleeve for the keyboard as well as the included stylus. It's very well done and keeps the notebook relatively securely in place. The external keyboard can attach to the base of the stand magnetically, which keeps it from moving around your desk, and the whole setup turns the Lenovo in some sort of super productivity all-in-one kind of thing. If you prefer a more traditional layout, you can also place the keyboard on top of the second screen, where it snaps in place with magnets once again. If you place it in the upper part, the uncovered section of the screen will show a trackpad in your preferred size. And if you move it down, you will have access to some widgets. Unfortunately, you cannot really customize what kind of widgets you can see there. I would love to see maybe my emails at a glance or some messaging apps. But maybe that will come in the future. The keyboard itself is again a bit of a mixed bag. While it carries over the chassis color, it feels nowhere near as premium as the Yoga itself. And if you are a typist hoping for a similar experience as with their Yoga Pros for example, you might be disappointed. I am fine with how the switches feel, but they sound a bit rattly with very shallow travel overall. The virtual variant can be activated on the whole of the second screen by simply tapping with 8 fingers, which worked very well in practice. While you cannot change the layout for some reason, you have pretty extensive control about transparency and the amount of haptic feedback, which gives you a slight illusion of typing on real keys. I would say it does the trick for occasional inputs, but you will probably not write your next novel on a virtual keyboard. The virtual touchpad equivalent works great when it comes to its functionality, but gliding your fingers over a glossy glass surface feels kinda sticky, and sometimes simple movements get picked up as taps or clicks if you are not careful. If you tap with 3 fingers on the secondary screen, it brings up a smaller variant that you can place and resize freely to your liking. Last but not least, you can also interact with both screens with the included stylus, which also worked pretty reliably during our testing. Regarding I/O, the Yoga Book comes with 3 versatile Thunderbolt 4s that all support DisplayPort signals and power delivery, and that's it. While we get that the slim profile might make the integration of USB-A a tad bit difficult, a headphone jack would have been very nice to see. Maintenance is also a big letdown since the Yoga Book is not designed to be opened by the end user, with no visible screws anywhere. The 5-megapixel webcam is amongst the best that we have seen lately and is very well suited for such a mobile focused device, which you will most likely use for the majority of your communication needs. Alright folks, let's talk display, or rather displays. Frankly, there's actually not much to talk about. These OLEDs are simply amazing if you can deal with their shortcomings. In typical OLED fashion, you get great color gamut coverage and insane contrast numbers that make any form of content literally pop off the screen. Brightness uniformity is class leading as well, but in comparison to mini LED panels or even standard high-end IPS panels, the overall brightness numbers cannot really keep up, which can sometimes prove to be a problem in brighter rooms. The glossy glass on top of each panel does not really help here as well. Color reproduction is quite decent, even though we would have wished for factory calibration for a device within this price range. Our manual calibration shows the potential of the display in regards to color accuracy, and you could easily use the Yoga Book for color critical work in photography and graphic design if you do not need a ton of performance, but more on that later. Another drawback of OLEDs is of course PWM, and we detected a fairly low frequency of 60 Hz below 100 nits display brightness, which might be a problem after prolonged use if you are sensitive towards it. I personally did not have any problems with this though. If you want to dive deeper into our display measurements, please feel free to head on over to our written review. My colleague Alan tested the Yoga Book extensively, and you can find all of his detailed results on our website. In the performance department, we are happy to report that the dual screen design reveals no major impact on the computing grunt of the Yoga Book. The 1355U is an efficiency trimmed CPU with 2 performance cores and a total of 8 efficiency cores, and the Lenovo can set itself apart from the competition running this same silicon. Both our PCMark system performance tests as well as our subjective impression align quite well, and the Yoga Book is a very snappy system for everything you would want to do with such a casual, lifestyle or office work focused device. Anything GPU accelerated will of course struggle, since the integrated Iris Xe with 96 execution units does not really hold a candle in 2023. So gaming or anything heavier like video editing or similar advanced content creation tasks are unfortunately off the table. I am kinda hoping for a pro version of the Yoga Book, maybe something with a thicker chassis to accommodate a dedicated GPU, since I could totally see myself using this for some photo or video editing. Fan noise is fine for the majority of use cases the dual screen Yoga is intended for. If you really push the CPU and the integrated graphics chip, it can get quite audible, but never in an annoying way. Similarly, external temperatures are well controlled. Again, if you want to dive deeper into our temperature results or stress test behavior for this one, please check out our written review linked in the description below. In addition, I took some noise samples for you under different loads and in different performance profiles, so you can get an idea yourself. I also included a small test for the speakers, which are simply very good and even rival Apple's latest MacBook Air 15. Before we wrap things up, let's see how much of an impact 2 power-hungry OLEDs do have on battery life. Thankfully, Lenovo opted for a pretty large 80 Wh battery, and so we have been able to score almost 10 hours with both screens at 150 nits of brightness. Alright folks, so how well does it work to have 2 screens in one device? Actually, Lenovo nailed the whole idea. Aside from some obvious drawbacks like the sticky virtual touchpad and the just so external keyboard, the Yoga Book is a very fun device to use for both casual use and if you want to be productive. The overall form factor is very versatile for all sorts of multitasking shenanigans, and both screens are simply stunning. Software support for interacting with 2 screens in one small laptop chassis is mostly well executed, even though we would have wished for more customization options. But for a first-gen product, Lenovo really did their homework for this one. But please folks, let me know what you think about the Yoga Book 9i. Sound off in the comments below. That shall be it for today. As always, if you enjoy our content, please leave your like and your subscription. Thanks a ton for watching. My name is Alex, you have been absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.